US stock market saw its second largest daily gain yesterday on the market, and with that, Bitcoin had a massive bounce towards the upside. And this, of course, all happened due to the fact that Trump authorized a 90-day pause on all tariffs except the Chinese one. So a lot to discuss on today's update video, because the economic trade war between China and the United States of America is heating up right now here. And on today's update video, I'm gonna be breaking it down, what it means for the wider markets, what it means, of course, for the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency market right now here. And of course, I'm gonna be talking about some very important levels, because Bitcoin is creating definitely some interesting price action I want you to be knowing about right now here. Without any further ado, guys, today's video will be packed with information you really want to know about, so don't forget to slap that like button back above 1000 likes, and let me jump straight away in towards today's update video. So yesterday, first of all, Trump started with a 90-day pause tariffs on all countries except China, and China tariffs went even higher towards 125%, and rumors are circulating this was just a major test on to see who are actually the allies and who are actually the enemies of the United States of America. And now Trump stated that China wants to make a deal with the United States of America, and they are figuring out a way on how they can do so, because it is definitely going to be absolutely necessary. Yesterday, Trump has stated multiple times that he is, of course, willing to talk to Xi, and of course, that is going to be absolutely necessary, because China is already starting to speak with its leaders of the countries to start stimulus after the major tariffs hike of Donald Trump here, because of course, the economy of China is mostly export, and about 40% of the exports of China is going to the United States of America. And of course, if there goes over 125% tariffs on it, it is absolutely going to be destroying the Chinese economy. So it is going to be absolutely crucial. They're going to be finding a way here. And it seems to be that currently China is more vulnerable to these measurements than the United States of America. So this is a lot of interesting things here. And during the 90-day pause here, Trump has stated that he wants to be making deals with most of the countries, and otherwise the tariff is just going to be continuing once again here. So Vietnam already agrees to, of course, negotiate a new trade deal with the United States of America. And while this all has been happening, the Chinese yuan fell towards its lowest level in 18 years here, which is, of course, absolutely insane. And after this news hit the market yesterday, we saw the second largest gain for the US stock market. The S&P 500 and some of the major stocks like Tesla, they went up over 20% in a matter of minutes. Literally in a matter of minutes. So that is, of course, absolutely insane what kind of a bounce we got here. Yesterday on the day, Nasdaq was up 12% on the day, which was the fourth best day in history. And for the S&P 500, it was the second best day in history. So that just already shows you how big of an effect this tariffs really have on the market. And of course, if he can right now finally finalize a deal with the communist leader of China, it will obviously be very bullish for the entire market. So yeah, while this is happening, we're still seeing, relatively speaking, negative funding rates across the border, across most of the altcoins and Bitcoin in the market. Still, there is some fear in the market, especially if I'm going to be talking about the stock market. We're still seeing extreme fear over there, but ultimately we have seen an ever so slight relief towards the upside. And if I'm going to be looking, of course, at the CME gap on Bitcoin, it is quite ironic that once again, we're about to be filling up the CME gap, and this time around we're creating somewhat of a W structure, which of course is a typical bullish buy structure. The Bitcoin is of course still creating that CME gap, and if we're going to be hitting 83.8k, we're of course going to be filling up this gap exactly. So that is very great news once again here. So on the 4-hourly time frame, we created the double bottom structure. Right now we're moving towards the upside, but ultimately what I want to be talking about if I'm looking at Bitcoin is that we're still trading in that major daily downward sloping trend line, and we need to be seeing the break above this downward sloping trend line, because as long as Bitcoin is not breaking this downward sloping trend line, I do believe we're still trading in this major downtrend. And of course, exactly the level where we got rejected from today is once again that downward sloping trend line. And I mean, Bitcoin, if you're looking at the downward sloping trend line, you can also look at the EMA ribbon, is just ultimately still trading in a bearish buy trend here, where we're creating, of course, lower lows together with lower highs. But ultimately, whenever we do break above the trend line, and of course above this range high right here, which is sitting around $87,000 US, I would start to say, okay, now I can start to call the major reversal on the Bitcoin price action. But as long as we're not breaking above this level, I'm not going to be talking about that here. But what is actually very interesting, and what I discussed in many videos before already, is that currently Bitcoin is of course exactly retesting the previous range high in the market. And historically, for the last two times this happened, it has actually marked the bottom, and it has actually marked the beginning of the next rally towards the upside and the break above the previous range high here. So really, Bitcoin is creating some very interesting structures, and honestly, we've seen a downward sloping trend here for about 90 days here, which is the average period. We see like downtrends or consolidation phases towards the downside happen. So honestly, if we would start to see the turn up back towards the upside, I wouldn't be all too surprised for Bitcoin right now here. So super excited for that ultimately right now. And of course, on the weekly time frame, we're still creating an upper sloping trend line where we've been bouncing from for most of the times already. And yeah, really guys, if I'm going to be looking at my trades on Pionex, my Bitcoin trade is once again back in a profit, which I have been accumulating along the way down here. And my Ethereum trade right now still, I am accumulating in this region, and ultimately, whenever the real bounce is going to come, I'm going to be making and locking in a significant amount of profit here. So that is doing ultimately very great right now here. And guys, if you want to be trading, and if you want to be copying any of my Bitcoin or Ethereum strategies, guys, which is definitely a lower risk strategy in the market, especially the Bitcoin one, you can right now copy my exact trading strategy right now in the link description of today's video. If you press on this link right here, and of course, if you think or you want to be creating your own trading strategy and your own trading bot here, guys, don't forget to check out the highest link description of today's video, where you can sign up an account to Pionex to set up a trading bot, whatever you prefer to set up right now here. So that is of course absolutely important to understand right now here. Then looking at this Bitcoin cycle, if we're going to compare it to any of the previous cycles whatsoever, we can clearly see that this cycle so far has not really been so great here compared to the previous ones here. But we're right now starting to be breaking above that all-time high, already coming back towards it. And historically, we've always seen such kind of a similar structure before it really went exponential. And yeah, that is just the thing I want to be pointing out right now here. I mean, also, every single time whenever there is extreme fear in the market, it historically has always corresponded with huge buying opportunities. And yeah, if we're going to compare this cycle towards 2021, we have seen a very similar structure before we have been absolutely going exponential. And really, the Bitcoin dominance as well here is right now peaking towards new all-time highs here. And really, that just shows you there is a relatively speaking low risk on accumulating altcoins in this point of the market right now here. Then also Bitcoin coming back towards the simple 50-day moving average, and historically also on gold, every single time once we did touch this level, we bounced from it. And yeah, that is just a very interesting take here. But all in all, I think it's going to be very important to see how the stock market is going to be reacting, because the stocks are obviously going to be having a huge impact on what Bitcoin is going to do here. And of course, this man, Donald Trump, is going to be obviously having the most effect of his all here, because maybe if he's going to be changing his mind again today, we could potentially all the way crash down again here. Or if he's going to be making finally a deal with China, it ultimately will be pushing up the entire market much, much higher from off this point onward. So Ethereum is also bouncing from off the lows in the market. I ultimately think that Ethereum is a very interesting range right now here. It is extremely oversold here, and it is down over 65%, guys. And I think that on Ethereum, it is quite a big opportunity we are currently getting presented. I've been accumulating it quite heavily right now here, and honestly, I am very convinced we are ultimately going to get at least a slight little reversal back to, let's say, $2,500, maybe $2,300, but already from off this point, that would mean, of course, quite a big bounce back higher, because that's already like a 60% bounce higher. But I do really believe Ethereum could be in to create such kind of a strong bounce here. So Ethereum compared to Bitcoin valuation is looking very interesting, and I'm currently taking a slight little trade on it. So this is it for me in today's update video. If you did enjoy it, learn something from it, don't forget to slap on the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys back again tomorrow on another update video. Peace out. Goodbye.